everyone. I am here with Anthony, and we just wanted to share with you our observations about the divine magic healing that we did. Very interesting, and I'm very excited to see, how this was for people and where it takes them. But first, let's Anthony, tell us, what was the theme of the session? Because we've never done this healing before. This is a new one. What was the theme of the
Yeah,
session?
it's also the first time that we've done it as a divine magic healing rather than a pure magic healing. And and when we started yesterday, you remember we said that it feels and felt, because we just finished the second session there now. It feels much denser than the pure magic session.
Yeah.
It's accessing the consciousness and energy system on a much more fundamental sort of level. So yeah, the theme of the healing was deepening in your Gaia nature, the nature of Gaia.
Yeah.
So
No, it's a beautiful idea, and I'm not sure what I was expecting, but the session was very different from how I imagined. I mean, the pure magic works in a very the divine magic, excuse me, works in a very different way. It has its own intelligence on a level that we haven't seen in the magic before. And, the first half hour of the first session really seemed to create this core in the center of the spine, this sort of core of awakened Gaia consciousness in the center of the energetic spine. And
that
that,
was the big surprise, yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah, it was
yeah,
incredibly dense. I was shocked at the density of it. And then that became sort of a reference point for the healing itself. That awakened Gaia began to bridge through the consciousness and the tissues and the intelligence field and the realms, and really just brought everything into alignment with that, and continued to deepen and continued to cycle. It moved in cycles, didn't it?
yeah, cycles of is also, if you're repeating it, it moved in a cycle of ongoing sort of deepening. Yeah, but the big surprise for me was I was expecting it to sort of deepen in the nature of manifested Gaia as we know it. And the intelligence of the healing did something much more fundamental. Because it accessed that awakened aspect of Gaia, then it's really deepening in the awakened aspect of Gaia through the whole body, energy system, consciousness, intelligence fields, the whole fundamental foundational fabric of the whole energy system. Really, it just deepened that the presence and awakefulness of Gaia from that point of view. Much more fundamental, and than what I would have expected as a blueprint for a healing. And it always feels more like a deepening workshop type of experience rather than the healing type of experience. Merlin manifests a deepening.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I think of Gaia, I think of a livingness, and I do think of cycles and
Yeah.
life and death and all this, but this seemed to go deep into the stillness of the awakened Gaia. And that was a surprise. And I think that's why it felt like a deepening workshop. It really
Yeah.
went through the stillness that's within that, and how that divine intention plays through the awakened Gaia-ness of the form. And it seemed within the last 15 minutes of the healing that really densified in a different way, as densified through the whole of the form, which becomes another reference point going forward for after the healing, something for the consciousness to keep referring back to, the Gaia-ness of the form. So really interesting. And on day 2, it just seemed to flow, and then divine magic had the plan, it had the blueprint, and it really just flowed and deepened for people who were repeating it.
Yeah, as an ongoing deepening. Definitely, it takes this. We talk about Gaia waking up in 2012. You could imagine that awakening being sort of in the background. It definitely takes that and brings it to the foreground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to almost talk about it because the awakened aspect of Gaia keeps bringing me to the stillness of that, you know, and recognizing it. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting in terms of creating a whole new kind of fabric for consciousness. Instead of experiencing ourselves and consciousness through our issues, it really strengthens that whole foundational presence of awake presence, and you know, and where Gaia or Gaia form you know, is there kind of embodying that awake presence of Gaia. Yeah, it's gonna be,
in a very soft and loving way, as
yeah,
opposed to like being shattered apart. And very often, you know,
yeah,
we're shaken. This is a soft, loving presence, you know, that expresses his livingness, but comes from a much deeper place, that deeper place of stillness. So I'm excited, you know, so
let's
we'd
do it
love to
again.
hear your feedback. And I
Right,
think that this
again.
is well worth repeating.
Yeah.
And we have observed with these the divine magic healings that it continues to deepen as you repeat the sessions. So we'd like to come back with
Yeah,
this.
like it would for something like deepening in meditation with Merlin or sensing one or things like that. You know, Merlin takes you where you're at and just continues on from there as a deepening. And so this definitely seems the case for this deepening in the awakefulness of Gaia. We'd have to rename it to deepening, and not just in Gaia, but deepening in the awakefulness of Gaia. And then how that's the other point, because, you know, I think it creates a whole better blueprint for physical health,
Yeah.
because with life form, it's creating a much better reference point in the whole energy system for what is harmony, what is health, you know, how the energy system is functioning, how all of that is sort of influenced by all of the conditioning we carry, you know, but how that's being sort of counterbalanced by the awareness of the awakefulness of Gaia. So I think of all the healings I've done for a long time, as a deepening for the energy system, I think it may have a very big impact for physical health. And the system becomes far more aware of, you know, that alignment with the awakening of Gaia helps the system recognize that it's like going into nature. For when if you don't feel good and you go out and you go into nature, you feel a lot better just from being in nature. So I think it's really amplified, not just being in nature, but being in the awakefulness within nature, the stillness within it. But that stillness is alive. It's not an abstract stillness. It's actually this, you know, it's it's here.
Anyway,
So
so really beautiful to watch. So thank you everyone for participating in this. Stay tuned. We're going to be offering it again in July. So watch out for that. And we look forward to seeing you soon.